صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله صلى الله عليك يا عبد الله يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة يا ليتنا كنا معكم سيدي فنفوز فوزا عظيما. وإذ قال لقمان لابنه وهو يعظه يا بني لا تشرك بالله إن الشرك لظلم عظيم. صدق الله العلي العظيم. My respected brothers and sisters in Islam, I bid you all assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. There's no doubt that one of the strongest relationships that exists between any two human beings is the relationship between the father and the son. Needless to mention the haqqul ab, the rights of the father, that Imam Sajjad salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi mentions, saying, as for the rights of the father, you need to realize that he is the roots to your trunk. Yes? Imam Sajjad alayhi salam says, realize that anything good in you is from him. Furthermore, Imam alayhi salam mentions in the etiquette that you and I are meant to deal with our parents. He says when they walk and they sit in a house or wherever you are sitting, you stand up when they sit down. How many times have we applied these very teachings in which Al Muhammad give you and I in regards to our parents? They would come to Rasulullah, they would tell him, Ya Rasulullah, you're great. You know what Rasulullah replied? Which isn't true, but he would say it. He would say, Abdullah is better than me. I might be great. Yeah, I'm going to apply the teachings of what? The teachings of Islam, which come and say that number one is Allah, and number two is parents. Furthermore, you have in the narrations, they say, if there was anyone to be worshipped other than Allah Azza wa Jal, it would be the parents. Could you imagine? How many times has Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Holy Quran, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَنْ لَا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Allah says, I have decreed that you worship me and you do good to your parents. In other words, the role of the father specifically on a night like this in which we examine, and we look at the role and the position of Abu Abdullah al-Hussain throughout the imamate of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen. Those 4 years, we might know what Ali ibn Abi Talib was doing. Yeah, as you know, now is not the 21st of Ramadan. Now we're throughout the days of what? Of Muharram. Therefore, it calls for an analysis indeed of the position and of the role and of the activity of Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam throughout the imamate of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, we know he was busy with his battles. What was Hussain doing? On a night like this, let's see. Number one, what was the relationship between Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam and Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen? In addition to what was he doing? Because when you come to the Holy Quran, Quran gives you and I a number of relationships between the father and the son. Yeah, for example, the relationship between Ibrahim and who? Ismail. Allah says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, فَلَمَّا بَلَغَ مَعَهُ السَّعْيَ قَالَ يَا بُنَيْ إِنِّي أَرَى فِي الْمَنَامِ أَنِّي أَذْبَحُكَ. Not the most beautiful of things, if you ask me, that you should say to your son. He tells him, my son, I've just seen in my dream that I've beheaded you. Sometimes you come to your son and you tell him do the dishes, which also could be annoying to him. Imagine telling him, can I cut your head off? Please, thank you very much. You tell him, can I do the following? ماذا ترى? There are so many, I tell you, this verse itself, and I've given a lecture just about this verse. This verse itself requires an entire analysis. Why? Because he first tells him, فَلَمَّا بَلَغَ مَعَهُ السَّعْيَ قَالَ يَا بُنَيْ إِنِّي أَرَى فِي الْمَنَامِ أَنِّي أَذْبَحُكَ. He would tell him, what do you think? Subhanallah. First of all, what Ismail thinks doesn't matter. because Allah told Ibrahim to do it. Yeah, out of kindness and out of displaying and demonstrating the etiquette of the father towards the son, he would go ahead and he would ask him, فَانظُرْ مَاذَا تَرَى? What do you think? Ismail would reply and teach us another lesson, which is submission to the father. It doesn't matter what he's telling you, as long as it doesn't go against the teachings of Allah Azza wa Jal, then you should do it right away. Doesn't the Quran itself come and say, وَإِن جَاهَدَاكَ عَلَىٰ أَن تُشْرِكْ بِاللَّهِ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا? Allah says, only when they tell you to disobey me, then don't follow them. In other words, Ismail would reply, he would say, يَا أَبَتِ افْعَلْ مَا تُؤْمَرْ. Yes? سَتَجِدُنِي إِنْ شَاءَ اللَّهِ مِنَ الصَّابِرِينَ. He would say, Father, do what you have been told, you will see me from the patient ones. Look at the beautiful relationship. Firstly, once he grew up, فَلَمَّا بَلَغَ مَعَهُ السَّعْيِ, the minute he grew up, he instantly introduced him to the teachings of Allah. He introduced him to the commands of Allah, not to business, not to material, not to the pleasures of this world. The first thing he found it necessary upon himself to introduce to his son was the commands that Allah Azza wa Jal gave him. That's the first relationship between a father and a son in the Quran, Ibrahim and Ismail. Secondly, you have the relationship between who? Luqman and his son. Verse I began with, Allah Azza wa Jal gives us the example in which Luqman sits his son down. Could you imagine? Some fathers might be thinking, what's the first thing I should tell my child? What should I introduce him first to? Luqman teaches you and I how to deal with our children. He sits his son down, he tells him, Ya bunay. وَإِذْ قَالَ لُقْمَانُ لِابْنِهِ وَهُوَ يَعِظُهُ يَا بُنَيْ. Luqman tells his son, Allah says while giving him advice, oh my son. What's the first thing he told him? لا تشرك بمن؟ بالله. He told him, don't do shirk with Allah. إِنَّ الشِّرْكَ لَظُلْمٌ عَظِيمٌ. Oh Luqman, teach him about business, teach him about tawheed, teach him about, for example, about politics, for example. Teach him about, you're going to be the one taking over the store after me. Teach him about all of these things. No, first thing I'm going to teach you, oh my son, is to not do shirk with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the second example. You continue and the Quran gives us more. You have the example of who? The story of Nuh and his son. Yes or no? Nuh alayhi salam goes to his son, trying to save him. Allah tells him he's not of your children. In other words, Quran is replete with relationships between the father and between the son. You agree? Very good. That's filled with what? These kinds of relationships. On a night like this, we don't want to look at the relationship between Luqman and his son, or between Ibrahim and his son, or between Nuh and his son. We want to look at the relationship between the best of sons and between the best of fathers. Yes? The relationship between Ali ibn Abi Talib and Imam Hussain. Salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhima. Sallu ala Muhammad. That how many times have you noticed throughout history, people would look at Hussein and they would say, you look just like Ali ibn Abi Talib. I'll give you a bunch of examples to clarify this notion for you. You'll notice one day, in Karbala, why go far? In Karbala, they would come to Imam Hussain alayhi salam asking him to do bay'ah. One of the companions of Yazid would make a voice. Do you know what he would say? He would say, don't expect Hussein to give bay'ah to the son of Marjan, because within him is the spirit of his father, Ali ibn Abi Talib. Yes or no? That's one example. You have another example of who? Muawiyah. You know, Muawiyah was smart. Yazid had issues because Muawiyah, in public, he would do Bismillah, Allahu Akbar, Tasbihat, Zahra, and so on and so forth. Yes or no? Yazid ibn Muawiyah, he didn't have the ability to put a mask up. Yes? You can give him credit that he was consistent, at least. He wasn't a hypocrite in that sense. Yazid ibn Muawiyah, in public, he would be himself. In private, he would be himself. Muawiyah was smart. He was what? He was mischievous. He would come to who? He would come to his son. He would tell him, my son, ask anyone for bay'ah. Ask Abdullah ibn Umar. Ask whoever you want. Yet do not ask Hussein ibn Ali. Why? Because his upbringing is from Ali ibn Abi Talib. Yes or no? They knew very well that this was a man who emanated from the roots which were called Ali ibn Abi Talib. Therefore, don't mess with him simply on the basis of him being the son of Amir al-Mu'mineen. That's why you have another example which clarifies it further. It is said that Umar ibn Sa'ad, alayhi la'inullah himself, on the 10th of Muharram, people would be surprised by the courage of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. We'll come in upcoming nights and speak about how Imam Hussain, people would be mesmerized by his courage. People would say, where did he get this courage from? Instantly Umar ibn Sa'ad would stop them from being amused by Imam Hussain alayhi salam. He would say, don't be amused and don't be surprised. Look at the word. He would say, هَذَا ابْنُ قَتَّالِ الْعَرَبِ. This is the son of the one who used to kill the Arabs. You know, much of the hatred of Bani Umayyah towards Imam al-Hussain. If Imam Hussain alayhi salam was a pacifist and he sat in his house all day, did nothing except read Quran, they would still hate him. You know why? Simply on the basis of him being the son of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Shimr, when he was sitting on the chest of the Imam, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, he would speak to him, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Muhammad. Imam Hussain said, maybe I have one more chance. Let me try to dissuade him. Save him. Imam wasn't worried by saving himself. He wanted to save who? Shimr ibn al-Jawshan. He tells him, Ya Shimr, ala ta'rifuni. Shimr, do you not know me? He told him, A'rifuk. Anta al-Hussain ibn Ali, ibn Fatima bint Muhammad. You are Hussain, son of Ali, Fatima, daughter of Muhammad. He would tell him, if you know me, why do you want to kill me? Notice the lines. Notice what? The main point to be sent here. He would tell him, بُغْضًا مِنْ أَبِيكَ عَلِيُّ بْنَ أَبِي طَالِبٍ. There's only one reason, O Hussein. Your father killed us in Nahrawan. Your father annihilated us in Siffin. Your father messed us up in Jamal. Your father created chaos in us and our ancestors. That's why Yazid ibn Muawiyah, when he was planning on getting rid of the Imam alayhi salam, he would recite lines of poetry because they were happy. It was as if they're bringing victory back to the failures of their past. Yazid ibn Muawiyah, you know what he would say? He would recite the famous lines of poetry in which he would say, لَيْتَ أَشْيَاخِي بِبَدْرٍ شَهِدُوا. Allahu Akbar. He says, I wish my ancestors in Badr would see. Would see what? جزع الخزرجي وقع الأسد لأهلوا واستهلوا ثم قالوا يا يزيد لا تشل. He said they would have saw me, they would have been so happy. They would have told me, oh Yazid, may your hand not go numb, until he makes the famous lines in which he says لعبت هاشم بالملك فلا خبر جاء ولا وحي نزل. He says Bani Umayyah, or he says Bani Hashim, they're playing games. No Quran came down and no revelation descended. In other words, their pride in killing Hussein was that they're achieving victory back from the failures of their past in what? And what Ali ibn Abi Talib did to them. Therefore they noticed, they saw Ali and Hussein. Hence they wanted to get rid of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. Because they thought killing Hussein would be killing Ali. Fools, they didn't know that if you kill Hussein, you're just going to emanate the teachings of Ali ibn Abi Talib even further. Yes or no? That we need to look at the life of Imam Hussain alayhi salam and what he did throughout the imamat of his father, Amir al-Mu'mineen. Yes? Firstly, when you come to speak about the imamat of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam alayhi salam, we know, he had about 3 battles. Yeah, before that, Imam alayhi salam, as you know, the imamat of Amir al-Mu'mineen was 4 years. Khilafah, 4 years. What did the Imam do in these 4 years? Let me tell you before Allah, salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. There are a number of principles and a number of teachings in which Imam Hussain extracted from Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen. You with me? About 3. The first principle in which the Imam extracted from his father, because it's sad to say many children, and inshallah we're not victims of this disease indeed, which is that his father is great, his father is wise, his father is knowledgeable, his father is high in his akhlaq. Yet the child who is little, or maybe young, or even a young adult, in his arrogance, thinks, I don't need to learn from my father. Yes or no? My father, yes, he doesn't know what he's talking about. My father comes from a different culture, and he might use what? He uses the hadith of Ali ibn Abi Talib, the hadith of Ahl Bayt, which comes and says, don't make your children be like you because they were created for a time other than you. Of course, he's misinterpreting it and he's applying it in the wrong situation, and that might be the only hadith that he has memorized because it makes things easy for him, and he can use it for his father. You know, there's some children, when he has religion, he uses it against his father. I know Alam al-Hilli, once his uncle was chasing him, he recited the verse of sujood so that his uncle can do sujood, and he escaped very quickly. Of course, religion shouldn't be used against our parents. You'll notice what? You'll notice there are many principles in which Imam alayhi salam took away from Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen. What was he doing? When Imam was doing everything he did, which we'll mention 3 examples in specific, Hussein was standing on the sides and taking notes. That when Hussein did what he did on the 10th, he did it. One of the most prominent reasons is because he was able to do what? He was able to take lessons from his father. He had the humility, number 1, and the foresight to learn from Ali ibn Abi Talib. Yes or no? The first example which we want to take is what? Is the example of which it comes in as equality. You know the equality of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen was second to none. Why? Because he applied it even to his family. Nepotism is one of the biggest diseases today in dictatorships and in societies that still have monarchies and so on and so forth. One of the biggest diseases that faces nepotism. You are my brother, whether you're on haqq or batil, I'm going to support you. And keep in mind, this was the philosophy of what? Of Jahiliyyah. أُنصُرْ أَخَاكَ ظَالِمًا أَوْ مَظْلُومًا. Support your brother, whether he's oppressed or whether he's an oppressor. Blood relationship is the only basis upon me wanting to support you. Imam al-Hussain alayhi salam learned from Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen. One of the first lessons was what? Was that whether you're my brother or my sister, my uncle or my aunt, if you're on haqq or batil, then I'm against you. Abu Lahab, one of the most prominent examples, Allah says, Tabbat yada Abi Lahab wa tab. How do we know this? We're told that one companion would come to another and he would tell him, why do you follow Ali ibn Abi Talib? Ali ibn Abi Talib was asked to increase the allowance for Hussein and Hassan and he refused. They thought this was something bad. They thought this means that the Imam was unjust towards his family. Little did they know. Imam alayhi salam is sending a message. What is he sending across? He's telling him, yes, even if he's my son, I'm still not going to give him anything special more than I give the one who isn't my son. You know one of the best examples, what is it? There was once a lady, she would stand in front of Ali ibn Abi Talib to get what? To get the jizya, to get the allowance in which would be your rights living in an Islamic government. They're standing in line. One lady comes, he gives her money. The next lady comes, he gives her the same amount. The second lady stops. She tells him, I'm sorry, Ali, what have you just done? He's like, what do you mean, what have I just done? I gave you money just like I gave her. She told him, don't you know I come from the family of so-and-so, and this is a slave from the kings of Mecca, or of Kufa, in other words? Huh? She told, what do you mean? She would say, I am from an elite family. You see my clothes, you see how I walk, you see my stature, you see my confidence. Why is it you're giving her the same amount as me? Imam would make a move which defines to us the justice and equality within the eyes of Ali ibn Abi Talib. You know what he would do? He would go, he would get 2 handfuls of dust. He would say, do you see any difference between these 2 handfuls of dust? If not, then don't ask me for anything more than her, because you came from dust and you go back to dust. SubhanAllah. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, what is he saying? He's saying this is the justice in the government of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Another example, wallah, and this one sends shivers down the spine. Do you know which one it is? Aqil, the brother of Ali ibn Abi Talib. He would come to him one day, he would tell him, yeah Ali, I'm your brother. Is it fine if you give me something extra? Imam al-Mu'mineen wouldn't say anything. He would go, he would get a piece of metal, he would burn it. He would put it near to Aqil ibn Abi Talib. He would tell him, yeah Imam, you're burning me. He said, correction, you're burning me. Allahu Akbar, what a line. You know why he said that? When he told him, you're burning me, you know what he's trying to say? He's saying, no, it's not me who's trying to burn. You're putting me in hell by trying to be unjust towards you. Allahu Akbar. You, just like everybody else, would be 6 feet under one day. You, just like everybody else, indeed, will be faced before Allah Azza wa Jal. In other words, don't ask from me something special. This is the first lesson Imam alayhi salam took. The second lesson, which is phenomenal as well, is the, indeed, lesson of political freedom. Give me your attention on this vital point. Political freedom is what? When you look at the time of Ali ibn Abi Talib, there were many. For example, Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas, Musaylama, and so on and so forth. Companions who were against Amir al-Mu'mineen. Because Imam al-Mu'mineen, keep in mind, he had the same etiquette of Allah Azza wa Jal. Yes or no? Allah Azza wa Jal, when He sees somebody doing wrong, He still gives him of His mercy. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen had the same level of mercy in what sense? If you would give bay'ah to Ali ibn Abi Talib or not, Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen wouldn't force you to do anything. You know how many people denied and stayed away from the bay'ah of Ali ibn Abi Talib? Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen let them live. He didn't do what first caliph did, hurting and punishing everybody that doesn't give bay'ah to him. Namely, Ali ibn Abi Talib himself was in prison for not giving bay'ah. In other words, do you know how much mercy he showed? Look at how this has been applied in the etiquette of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Imam alayhi salam would one day rise and he would say, "O people, I know that you are the best of families. I know that you are the best of companions. None of you can be replaced by anyone, yet if you want to leave, you can leave." Do you know how many times Imam alayhi salam made this statement of if you want to leave, you can leave? Imam made it on so many instances. I'll name to you about two. That's the first one. In a quote, he would tell them, if you want to leave, you can leave. Meaning, you're not here for me, you're here for Allah. Another example is who? Nafi' ibn Bilal. Nafi' ibn Bilal was an interesting one. Why? Because he would come out in the middle of the night and he would see that the Imam alayhi salam is what? He see that the Imam alayhi salam is out in the middle of the night doing something on the 10th of Muharram. He would tell him, "What are you doing, O Imam?" He would tell him, "Wallah, I'm here, I'm seeing what is the strategy of the camps of Yazid right now." He said, "What do you mean, what's the strategy of the camps of Yazid right now?" He said, "I'm trying to find out, what are they doing?" He told him, "Did you find out?" He said, "Yes, now I've realized it." He told him, "But now that you see everything is dark and everybody's sleeping, you can run away if you like. You can escape. Escape, go ahead." He told him, "Imam, why would I want to escape?" He told him, No, I'm giving you the opportunity to go and run away." He told him, "Ya Hussein, I was with you in ease. Why would I leave you in difficulty?" Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. I was with you and everything was okay. Why am I going to leave you when things get difficult? Doesn't make sense. That's one example. Another example is of a companion who would one day come out and the Imam alayhi salam would see him. He would tell him, "Isn't it true that your son is in captivity? I give you the permission to go and free him." He told him, "Wallah, O Imam, my son is indeed in captivity and it's difficult for me to be here. Yet I'm not going to leave." He told him, "What do you mean you're not going to leave?" He said, "Oh Imam, I would wish that the beasts eat me before me leaving you here in Karbala." Huh? What is the Imam showing? Firstly, this shows the elite level of the companions of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. That's the first thing that it shows. The second thing that it shows is that Imam was applying the teaching of La ikraha fi din. How many times have we read Ayat al-Kursi? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes and says, "La ikraha fi din, qad tabayyana ar-rushdu min al-ghayy." Allah says there is no compulsion in religion. Yes or no? You can't force somebody to do something. As right as you are. In Islam, it's not the Islamic form of upbringing to force your daughter to wear a hijab. You're right 100% and she's wrong 100%. Yet to force her isn't Islamic. To force the child to pray with you. Forcing. Do it, and if you don't do it, you're not going to go to school today, for example. Or you're going to be grounded. That may work with you for a few moments, yet grow up. I promise you that's not going to increase the love of Allah in his heart. Because when he remembers salah, what's salah going to be correlated with? It's going to be correlated with, hey, I remember one Sayyid, he says, when his father would wake them up, for salah, he would put an apple in their mouth. He would say, I grew up and I realized, now whenever I remember salah, I remember the sweetness of the apple. Do you know what some remember when they remember salah? Not the sweetness of the apple, but the bitterness of the slipper coming at them. Yes or no? He would what? He would put we call it tufaha. He would put the green apple in their mouth so that now Fajr, wake up. He remembers the sweetness of the apple. SubhanAllah, it's a beautiful etiquette. That's an Islamic etiquette. Now he remembers the slippers flying and the shouts crossing by. I remember they say if you Iraqi mothers, for example, I don't know, they have the ability to throw slippers like it's a boomerang. It always comes back to them. I don't know how they do it. In other words, I remember my cousin, just to lighten the atmosphere, it doesn't hurt to crack a few humorous notes. There is one, my cousin, when he's praying, he was upstairs and it's time for salah. His mother comes to him, she tells him it's time for salah. He didn't want to pray. Maybe she didn't teach him the importance of salah, maybe he was tired, I don't know, inshallah he's not listening to this lecture. She would tell him, wake up for salah, he would ignore her. Wake up for salah, he would ignore her until the third time. Do you know what he did? Kids, please don't use it. He would say, Allahu Akbar, and he would jump back in bed. This kind of a person who says Allahu Akbar and jumps back in bed, this isn't the etiquette of somebody who knows the importance of salah, I promise you. Teach the child the sweetness of iman. Iman has a sweetness to it, brothers and sisters, whether we realize it or not. Iman is sweet. Salatul Layl has a halawa, it has a sweetness to it. Waking up for Fajr when all the eyes are sleeping except your eyes speaking to Allah Azza wa Jal, there's a halawa in that. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen would be seen going out in the midst of the night. He would faint. Companion would run back to the people telling them, Ali ibn Abi Talib has died! Ali ibn Abi Talib has died! Fatima would smile. She would tell him that's normal. Every day he faints because of his love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This kind of love, how do we attain it? I promise you, some, and inshallah we're not one of them, we detest it when we hear the alarm clock for salah. Yes or no? We have to wake up first. Ulama, I'll give you an example. Ayatollah al-Khomeini, rahmatullahi alayhi. It is said that when he was sick in his last moments, they would come to him and they would try to wake him up to give him medicine. They tried this, they tried that, it didn't work. They came to him, they told him, Imam, it's the time of salah. They say the heart of Imam began to beat. That's a special connection if you ask me. That's somebody who realizes the verse, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُم. Isn't that what Allah Azza wa Jal says? When they remember Allah, their heart begins to beat. In other words, you'll notice that the Imam alayhi salam learned from his father to not force the child to do something. Therefore, he didn't force Habib to stay. Habib what? Habib would tell him, oh Imam, if you kill us, if we're killed once, twice, 1,000, resurrected and brought back, we're not going to leave you. He would turn off the candle, nobody leaves. Imam was showing what? That he learned from Ali ibn Abi Talib to not force people to follow him, as second caliph did. That's the second thing. The third thing that he learned from Ali ibn Abi Talib, which is vital, was this idea of being universal. Give me your attention, inshaAllah, on this vital point. You'll notice when you come and you see Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, he had such respect. This is the vital point. He would treat the Muslim with harshness if he was on evil, and he would treat the non-Muslim with mercy if he was on haqq. Yes? It said that one of the board members of the government of Ali ibn Abi Talib would make a mistake, or indeed he would do something, he would take, for example, extra money or whatever it was. One man would come to Imam al-Mu'mineen, or the lady, she would come to Imam, she would complain to him. It is said that the Imam would go and he would ban him. Never again was he allowed in the government of Ali ibn Abi Talib. That's why he was a Muslim. He said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. But his actions didn't. Therefore, he put him on the side. Look at the respect he showed for Christians. We mentioned yesterday in discussion. It is said that Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen would be walking. He sees people beating up a non-Muslim. Allahu Akbar. How many times have you noticed a non-Muslim walks into a masjid, they wash the place where he walked. What do you mean you wash the place where he walked? As if he is a'udhu billah, an animal that had just entered. Allah brings him to the door. Everything else is up to you and I. Yes or no? The non-Muslim is brought. Now how we're going to treat him is up to you and I. You'll notice Imam respected the Christian upon his haqq, if he's on haqq, and he disrespected, or in other words, he treated harshly the Muslim if he was on batil. Where did Imam do this? There's no better example I can give you than John. You know John? John was a black servant of Abi Dhar al-Ghifari. John, he would come to the Imam alayhi salam, and he would tell him, oh Imam, my smell is detestable. My lineage is uncaring. And my color is black. Breathe upon me with Jannah, so that my smell becomes pleasant, so that my family become caring, and so that my color becomes white. You know what the Imam alayhi salam would do? He would give him the permission to fight. Allahu Akbar. John would go onto the battlefield saying, he would begin to mention the famous lines, are you fearful from the strike of the black lad when he comes protecting the progeny of Muhammad? Yes. He would tell them, what, do you fear me or no? Until it is said that when John radiallahu anhu would fall onto the grounds, it is said that the Imam alayhi salam would come and he would blow on to him. He would say, it is now that your smell is pleasurable. It is now that your family will be caring. It is now that what? That your color would become what? Of course, the soul, referring to the purity of the soul, not the color of the skin. Otherwise, the Imam, as Rasulullah honored Bilal, who was of dark color as well. It is said that the fourth Imam, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, comes and says, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Fourth Imam alayhi salam says that when they come in, they smelled the smell of the blood of John. It was a smell of oud. It was a smell of musk. Yes? That the Imam alayhi salam was showing we don't discriminate between black and white, old and young. Hence Karbala was a variety of colors and a variety of ages and a variety of genders even. That you'll come and you notice that Imam picked up these 3 lessons. I don't have much time, but let me mention what I had in mind. Imam alayhi salam had about 3 battles which Imam attended. Give me your attention on these last few points. Firstly, the battle of what? The battle of Jamal. Imam had 2 things he did in the battle of Jamal. Because we need to know, I think it's rather vital, what was the role of Imam Hussain in Jamal, in Siffin, and in Nahrawan. 3 battles. Imam in his imamah of 4 years and 10 months only had 3 battles. These were the 3 battles which he had. Jamal, Siffin, and what else? And Nahrawan. What was Hussein doing throughout these years? What was he sitting in the house? Was he sharpening his sword for Karbala? No. He was preparing himself through these battles for Karbala. You with me? You look at, for example, the battle of Jamal. Imam had 2 roles. Imam was the leader of the left battalion of Jamal. Hadith come and say the left side of Jamal was led by Imam Hussain alayhi salam. That's the first thing. Imam was teaching him how to lead an army, preparing him for the 10th of Muharram. Imam was what? He didn't keep him. This is a lesson for every father, I say with all humbleness, and for every human being that wants to teach somebody the most prominent of ways to put in his love, the love of Ahlul Bayt, is to mix him in these kinds of environments. Sometimes people say that, I remember as a child, I wouldn't understand 1 word of what the Mawlana was saying. In Arabic, we would sit down, me and my friends would be cracking jokes, sitting on the side, but little did you know that Mawlana, even if you don't understand what he's saying, it touches the heart, because there's a universal aura from the words that have anything to do with Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Right now, if you go and hear Noah in Chinese, I promise you 100% it will have a spiritual effect on you. There's a spiritual message, literal and physical message being sent from a mimbar. There's a blessing from the mimbar of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Are you with me? In other words, you'll notice that firstly, he was the leader of the left battalion. Secondly, Imam alayhi salam gave him another position. In the battle of Jamal, Imam won, people continued to fight. Why? Because the camel of the wife of Rasulullah was still standing. The people of Basra took refuge under the camel of what? The camel of the wife of Rasulullah. As long as it was standing, then it meant things are still intact. We are still in this war. Imam alayhi salam went and he commanded Imam al-Hassan to strike the right foot of the camel. Yes? And he commanded Imam al-Hussein to cut off the left leg of the camel. What was Imam teaching him? Until Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah, he would come to the wife of Rasulullah, he would tell her, "Oh, wife of Rasulullah," he would fix the saddle. In other words, he would touch her, she would be furious. She would say, "How could you touch the wife of Rasulullah?" He would say, "It is I, Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah, your relative." He would tell her, "Are you harmed?" She would say, "An arrow has struck me." He would remove the arrow. Look at the care of Ali ibn Abi Talib. This is somebody who just waged war against you. Yes? This is somebody who just wanted to annihilate you. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen is there taking care of her, protecting her. Yes? That firstly he would teach him how to lead and how to take initiative, how he would give him responsibilities. In other words, those are the 2 necessary things we need to know about Hussein and Jamal. Keep in mind, sources are very minimal about the role of Hussein and Siffin. You'll have a few stories here and there. I had to accumulate them. In other words, you'll notice when you speak about Hussein and Nahrawan, what did Hussein do in Nahrawan? You have to go and look at because it's not something that people delve into. We know Hussein in Karbala to find, and it's easy. You go Hussein Karbala, you find millions of sources right now on Google. Put Hussein in Nahrawan, I promise you'll probably find 0.5. It's difficult. Why? Because it's not something we're entertained with. But we need to know how Hussein became the product through the process. Yes or no? Number 1, Jamal. Number 2, in the time that we have, Siffin. Siffin, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam firstly gave a sermon. Imam al-Hussein would stand up before the masses, encouraging them and refueling them with energy, saying, "Oh people, you are the ones who have been chosen. You are the ones who have been chosen to finish that which has begun. To make easy that which has become difficult," until the Imam alayhi salam would mention the famous words in which he would say, "Brother, if we can just please turn the fan off. May Allah bless you. Thank you, thank you." He would tell him, firstly, You are ones who will finish what what has begun. You will be ones who will make easy that which has been made difficult. Yet realize, look at the Imam and you want to read the mind of Hussain before Karbala? Look at how he knew war tactics. He knew this kind of stuff. He would turn to them and he would say, yet realize that war is open mischief and it's a bitter reality. He would say, you cannot be fearful of the wound before it comes. If you go and attack, you will be victorious at the right timing. Yet if you delay it and if you're slow, then indeed you will lose. Imam alayhi salam has just given them the vital tactics they need to know for war. You know why? What he meant by don't be slow? Give me your attention here. You know why don't be slow? Because hesitation is from shaitan. You know it is said that Imam alayhi salam would tell his son, take the flag and go. He would be late for a few seconds. Allahu Akbar. For a few seconds he would be late. Imam or himself, the son of Imam Muhammad al-Hanafiya, he says, I felt a gust of wind fly past me. What was it? It was Ali ibn Abi Talib taking the flag and going himself. I told you to go now, not in 2 seconds. Hesitation is from shaitan. Khayrul birri ajil. Hadith comes and says, when you want to do something good, do it right away. This is a lesson from Islam. Islam says, if there's something you want to do good, do it right away. Why? Because shaitan comes and tells you, don't do it. Well, you have a test. Do it right away. Because shaitan comes and plays games left, right, and center. He comes from the left. We close it. He comes from the other side. In other words, that was the first thing he would give a speech. Furthermore, in the time that we have, Imam alayhi salam, it is said that Muawiyah denied them from water. Famous incident. Battle of Siffin, Muawiyah denied Ahlul Bayt from water. They would come to the Imam, they would tell him, oh Imam, we can't handle it anymore. It's too difficult. The heart is hurting. We need water. He would send an envoy, they would come back unsuccessful. Until he sends Imam al-Hasan, Imam al-Hussain, Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiya, and Abu Fadl al-Abbas. What a fantastic four, you agree? He would send them, and he would tell them, go ahead and finish things off. They would go, they would defeat the companions of Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, they would come back victorious. The companions of Muawiyah feared. What did they fear? They feared that now Ali will do the same thing that they did to him. Imam alayhi salam tells them, you have it all wrong. I come from a different school. I come from the school of maghfirah. Yes or no? I come from the school of rahmatan lil alameen. I come from the school of ruh of Muhammad ibn Abdullah. He would tell them that, no, I'm not. Do you know why Imam gave them the water? Because you can what? You can disrespect the one who respects you. There are about 4 levels. Disrespect the one who respects you. Then you respect the one who respects you. Then you respect more the one who respects you. Yes? Therefore there's one that's what? Negative. Somebody smiles at you, you hit him. He has issues. He smiles, he hits him. There's somebody, he smiles, he hugs him more. He thinks that this is Islamic. There's another level in Islam. Then you have the balanced, there's what? The reciprocal. Then you have what? The positive. Then you have Islamic. Do you know what Islam comes and says? Allahu Akbar, the religion we have. Islam comes and says, even if he disrespects you, respect him. That's what Islam comes and says. Islam says, he slaps you, kiss him. This is Islamic. Some of you might be saying, what? You have it all wrong. What do you mean? I'm going to ruin him. I learned today, what are you saying? Blood. You tell him blood. He destroys him. Yes? British lingo. He would tell him that he hurt me, wallah, I'll annihilate him. I'll get rid of him instantly. You agree with me or no? This is what? This is Western ideology. This is modern day 2015 ideology. Islam came and said what? Islam came and said, if he hits you, go and embrace him. He comes to you with hate. Love is stronger than hate. Therefore, let love overpower his hate. Yes or no? Imam alayhi salam would come back and bring what? He would bring back the water. Yet then you come, indeed, in the time, you come and you see Nahrawan, Imam alayhi salam, when Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen was about to leave the world, Imam wasn't there, you know that. Imam Hussain wasn't there. Where was he? He was in Nakhila. Hassan would send him a letter telling him, come, our father is getting ready to leave this world. What was he doing in Nakhila? He was leading an envoy. Again, he was what? Being prepared for Karbala. Until the moment of the death of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam had him preparing for Karbala. If anybody says, then what are you saying doesn't make sense. No, these were all stages of what? Preparation of Hussein to become Sayyid al-Shuhada. Learning from the Imam of his father, Ali ibn Abi Talib. That's why you'll notice that indeed Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, he was one who not prepared Hussein just physically, he prepared him emotionally as well. You know how many times he would tell Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam of what is to happen in Karbala? Go and read the hadith. About 9, 10, 11 examples in which he sits him, or in other words, he tells the people and he passes by. For example, he was on his way to Saffin, he's with a companion, they pass by Nainawa. He begins to cry. Why do you cry, O Imam? This is the land in which I was told the blood will spill. This is the land in which I was told the ladies will be taken as captives. This is the land in which I was told that the heads will be slaughtered. Yes, Imam would prepare him until his last moments. He was in an envoy. He was where in Nakhila. And before his death, he was elsewhere fighting for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jal. Yes? Yet the Imam would prepare him emotionally. Yeah, if there's one reason that they wanted to get rid of the Imam, it was because he reminded them of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Those 4 years of the Khilafah of Amir al-Mu'mineen did wonders to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. They are what gave him the strength. They are what led the enemies to say, this is the son of Ali, get rid of him. Do you know why Bani Umayyah wanted to get rid of Imam al-Hussein? For one reason. If you kill Hussein, yes, then this is an attempt to kill what Ali ibn Abi Talib has already begun. That's why they had so much hate. It was all because of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Ali ibn Abi Talib, you look at him, he was a mirror of, or Hussein alayhi salam was a mirror of Amir al-Mu'mineen. None of them had love in their heart, yes? Except there was one man who had a bit of love in his heart. It is said that when the Imam alayhi salam was praying on the 10th of Muharram, he would see a familiar face. He would tell him, what are you doing here? Hur would reply. He tells him, I'm praying with you. Hussein would tell him, ثَكَلَتْكَ أُمُّكَ ماذا تريد? May your mother lose you. This was a form of a kind insult in the time of Arabia, where you would say, may your mother lose you. What do you want? Do you know what Hur would reply? Allahu Akbar. Which shows to us that he always had love in his heart for Al-Muhammad. He would say, if your mother was anyone other than Fatima, I would have answered you back. Yeah, what can I say to a son whose mother is Zahra? Yes. Therefore, you'll notice, Hur always had love in his heart. To the extent that Hur, it is said, that once he was standing, he was the leader. It is said that if you ask the people of Karbala, who was the strongest of the members of the army of Ibn Ziyad, they would say Hur ibn Yazid al-Riyahi. They turn around, they see Hur fluctuating, hesitating, not a characteristic of a leader. They see him speaking to himself, saying the following, saying, I have the choice between hell and heaven, and never will I choose above heaven, hell. They would tell him, Hur, what are you talking about? He would say, there is the grandson of Rasulullah, and you're telling me it's my duty to go and get rid of him. Wallah, never will I do such a thing. Hur. And if anybody is thinking that I have gone too far in life in my sins, there are some who have this kind of a mentality. I've done too much. I've gone too far. My bucket list, my shoulders are filled with sins and dhunub. There's no better example than Hur. Do you know what Hur did? Hur was the one who denied the Imam to go back once he realized he doesn't have the support from the people of Kufa. Hur was the one who stopped it from him going back. And indeed that quote makes very beautiful sense, which says, every saint has a past and every sinner has a future. Hur manifested this very quote. That's why you'll notice that Hur made a decision which changed his life completely. Subhanallah. Those last moments are vital in the life of insan. It's always the ending. Quran focuses on ending. Where we are now is rather irrelevant. Once we die, that's why we say, رَبَّنَا وَتَوَفَّنَا مُسْلِمِينَ. Let us die, Muslims. The aqibah, the ending. Hur ibn Yazid al-Riyahi would go to the Imam, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. He would tell him, "Oh Imam, I have done wrong to you, O family of Muhammad. I have done injustice to you. Do you give me the permission to fight? Yet before that, is there room for repentance?" Imam alayhi salam would reply to her, showing the mercy and the forgivingness within the heart of Ahlul Bayt. He would tell him, "Forgiveness is from Allah. I give you the permission to fight." Take your minds to Karbala. Take your minds to that land which now has millions of people circumambulating that shrine of the son of Zahra. Imam Hussain alayhi salam tells him, "I give you the permission to fight." That's why when Imam Hussain alayhi salam said, "Oh my companions, come and aid me." Some ahadith say the first to die from the companions of Abu Abdullah was Hur ibn Yazid al-Riyahi. Do you know why? His conscience bothered him. He came to him. He told him, "I was the first one who denied you from going back. Let me be the first one who meets Rasulullah in Jannah." He would tell him, "I give you the permission to fight." Imam al-Hussein comes to Hur. He sees Hur in his last moments. He tells him the famous lines, "Anta Hurrun kama sammatka ummuk." You are free as your mother has named you. Yes, he would tell him, "You are free as your mother has named you." Hur closes his eyes and he leaves this world. Yet it is said that Banu Riyah, when Umar ibn Sa'ad would go, he would cut the heads and place them on spears. On the 10th of Muharram, Umar ibn Sa'ad, he would go, he would cut even the head of the 6-month-old baby. Could you imagine that tender neck? He would take his sword out and easily, in the coldest of hearts, he would chop the neck of Ali al-Asghar, placing it on the spear. Yet Banu Riyah stood up and they said, "You will not cut the head of Hur." Therefore his head wasn't cut. Yet our sympathy goes to Zainab when she saw the neck that Abu Abdullah had kissed by Rasulullah raised on a spear. Now raised on a spear with the, Yazid in Sham, he would place the head of Imam on a table and he would take the stick and play with the lips that Rasulullah kissed. Allahumma nas'aluka wa nad'uka bi ahabbil khalqi ilayk. Brothers and sisters, raise your hands to Allah. Tonight being the 5th night of Muharram, we've reached halfway and we'll have to wait another year until Muharram comes back. Let us raise our hands asking Allah, by the repentance of Hur, that He accepts our repentance. Oh Allah, we ask You by the decision that Hur made to change his life, that You change all of our lives for the better. Every human being could make improvements in his life. We tell him, Ya Allah, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma bi Fatima wa abiha wa ba'liha wa baniha والسر المستودع فيها بعدد ما أحاط به علمك. اللهم شافي كل مريض بحق مريض كربلاء زين العابدين. اللهم انصر الإسلام والمسلمين. Oh Allah, aid the Muslims worldwide. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج. And to enter our du'as and to hasten the appearance of Imam, we recite Surah Al-Fatiha with the salawat for Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad.